Why did you come home so late?
Why? You have the nerve to ask me why.
I was just worried about you.
Liar! I'm not complaining. This is just not working.
If you want a chef, hire one.
He used to say he was a disciplined man. Structured, orderly, principled. That was how he described himself to friends. At home, his wife described him differently in her silent prayers. Demanding, harsh, never satisfied. He didn't hit her. That was his pride. He would often say, "At least I'm not one of those men that beat their wives," as if cruelty only counted when it left bruises. His own damage left no fingerprints. He did not eat the same soup twice. If she cooked egusi today, tomorrow it had to be ogbono. The next day, something different. Fresh, hot, perfect. "If I work hard, I deserve fresh food," he would say, dropping his briefcase with authority. Even when she was sick, even when her body ached from carrying their third child, even when she could barely stand without dizziness. "You are not a baby," he would snap. "Fix yourself." She had 3 children for him. 3 pregnancies that stretched her body and thinned her patience. 3 births that nearly took her life. But motherhood did not reduce his expectations. If anything, it increased them. The house had to be spotless. The children had to be quiet. His clothes had to be ironed without a single crease. And the food, always fresh. He never corrected her without adding insult. If she oversalted the soup, it wasn't just, "There's too much salt." It was, "Can't you do anything right?" If she forgot to buy something from the market, it wasn't, "Please remember next time." It was, "Your brain is always empty." If she asked a question, simple, harmless, it became disrespect.
Why did you come home so late?
Why? You have the nerve to ask me why.
I was just worried about you.
Liar!
If she tried to explain her feelings, he would cut her off. "You talk too much. You don't know how to keep quiet." And slowly, she learned. So she kept quiet. She woke before dawn every day, cooked breakfast, packed lunchboxes, bathed the children, cleaned the house, prepared a different soup before sunset because he did not eat leftovers. Even when fever burned her skin, even when her back throbbed, even when tears mixed with the steam rising from the pot. He traveled often. "Work trip," he would announce casually. Sometimes 3 days, sometimes a week. She never saw receipts, never asked too many questions. Because when she did, he would call it nagging. "You're too insecure." But the truth was simple. He was not traveling for work. He was traveling for softness, for admiration, for the side chick.
I missed you so much.
She was everything his wife used to be, before exhaustion shaped her into silence. Soft-spoken, playful, always excited to see him. She would cook for him too, but only when she felt like it. And because she was not tired from raising 3 children alone, she had energy to smile while doing it. He liked the contrast. He would sit in the side chick's apartment, laughing loudly, telling stories about how his wife had changed. "She used to be sweet," he would say. "Now, she just complains." He never mentioned why. He never mentioned the nights she stayed awake with sick children while he was on business. He never mentioned the time she fainted in the kitchen and still got up to finish cooking before he returned. At home, his wife grew thinner, quieter. The children noticed. "Mummy, are you okay?" the eldest would ask. She would smile. "I'm fine." But she was not fine. She was tired of being corrected with cruelty, tired of being compared, tired of being treated like an employee who could never earn promotion. One evening she had malaria. Her body shivered uncontrollably. Sweat soaked her wrapper. The children hovered around her, worried. He walked in and lifted the pot cover. "What is this?" "I reheated the soup from yesterday," she whispered, weakly. "I'm not feeling well." He stared at her like she had committed betrayal. So because you're sick, I should suffer? You're not a baby. Fix yourself. That night, she dragged herself to the kitchen. The children watched their mother cook while trembling. Something shifted inside her. Not anger, not revenge, just clarity. She realized she could die in that house. And if she did, he would complain that the soup was cold at the funeral. A week later, he left for another work trip. She used that silence wisely. She packed clothes for herself and the children. Not in anger, in decision. When he returned, the house was neat. The children were gone. The wardrobe was lighter. On the table was a short message. I cannot raise my children in a home where love sounds like insults. Take care of yourself. No accusations. No drama. Just exit. At first he laughed. She'll come back, he told himself. They don't leave. So he called the side chick. Within weeks, she moved in. The children's laughter was replaced with perfume and loud music. The side chick did not wake before dawn. She did not cook every day. And when she did, it was once. She reheated it the next day without apology. The first time he complained, she looked at him calmly. If you want a chef, hire one. He blinked. No one had spoken to him like that before. He tried again another day. This house is messy. She didn't even look up from her phone. Then clean it. He felt something unfamiliar. Resistance. The respect he demanded from his wife did not exist here. When he traveled less, she traveled more. When he questioned her, she smiled coldly. Don't start nagging. The same word he used on his wife now hung in the air like a curse. He realized something disturbing. Intimidate her. She was not financially dependent. Not emotionally invested. Not afraid. The insults he once delivered confidently now returned to him sharpened. You're always complaining. You think too highly of yourself. You're not the prize. Each sentence struck his ego with precision. Then the financial demands began. Transfer money. I need a new phone. My rent increased. He paid. Because at least with money, he felt control. Until one morning, she was gone. Wardrobe empty, jewelry missing. Bank alerts screaming depletion. Blocked. No explanation. Just absence. He sat alone in the same house where his wife once cooked through fever. Now, there was no fresh soup. No children's voices. No obedience. Only silence. Months passed. His business slowed. His friends visited less. The power he once radiated faded into irritation. Then came the final blow. Community event. Reluctantly. And there, he saw her. His wife, but not the version he remembered. She was fuller, healthier, standing tall. Beside her stood a man holding the hands of her children, not awkwardly, naturally. The children laughed around him, called him daddy. The word pierced deeper than insult. He watched as the man adjusted her scarf gently, listened when she spoke, introduced her proudly to others as my wife. Wife. Not baggage, not burden, not project. Wife. He overheard whispers. He married her with 3 kids? Yes. He said a woman who survives that much deserves protection, not judgment. The new man was not louder than him, not richer, but calmer, secure. He treated her children as his own, attended school meetings, helped with homework, carried the youngest on his shoulders. The same children he once called too noisy. Then she saw him. Time slowed. He expected bitterness, or maybe tears. But her eyes held none. Only peace. She walked toward him politely. How are you? She asked softly. Soft, but not submissive. He struggled for words. I've been trying to reach you. She nodded gently. I changed my number. No anger, no revenge. Just boundaries. He glanced at the man approaching. "He's good to you?" he asked, voice cracking slightly. She smiled, not shy, not forced. "He lets me rest." 3 simple words. He lets me rest. The weight of them crushed him, because he never did. The new man reached them and placed a protective hand on her back. Not possessive, protective. He shook his hand politely. No hostility. No insecurity. Confidence does not need volume. As they walked away, the youngest child looked back and waved innocently. He stood there, surrounded by noise that felt distant. He realized something brutal. Another man was eating the fresh meals she cooked with love. But this time, she cooked because she wanted to, not because she was afraid. Another man was correcting her gently, not layering guidance with humiliation. Another man was coming home early, not traveling to escape her. And he was left with a house that still demanded fresh soup, but had no one left to cook it. Dominance is strength, until they meet a woman who leaves, and another man who builds what they broke. By the time he understood that love is not control, she was already resting in someone else's arms. And this time, she would never cook through fever again. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories.